Welcome to the 100 Photos channel. We are glad to see you again and wish you a pleasant viewing of our new video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos, and you will also help achieve my dream of 100,000 subscribers. 80 years ago today, exhausted GIs Adam H. Davis, L., and Milford A. Sillars of the 110th Regiment, 28th Infantry Division, take a break in Bastogne, Belgium, December 19, 1944. 1924 eruption at Kalouya. 1938 to 1940, construction of the Palace of the Soviets. 1946, Margaret Zimmerman, balancing on a tightrope over the ruins of Cologne, in which was then in the British occupation zone in Germany. A crowd of onlookers wait on Clark Street to catch a glimpse of Al Capone during his trial, circa October 1931. A D-3A-1 dive bomber makes its final plunge towards the USS Hornet during the Battle of Santa Cruz. A date which will live in infamy: the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. A nearly complete B-17F Flying Fortress bomber at Boeing's production line in the Seattle plant, 1942. Photo, United States Office of War Information. A U.S. Army medic administering first aid to a GI in the woods near Tittingen, Germany, during the Battle of the Ardennes, 1944. Aftermath of the Asker accident flight, Sverre Sigurdsson crash, Norway, 23 December 1972. Alex Penkala and Warren Skip Muck at Camp McCall, North Carolina in 1943. They were killed in action together on January 10, 1945 in Bastogne. Argentine military on a Soviet Balaz dump truck captured from the British during the 1982 war for the Falkland Islands. Armored vehicles from the German 14th Panzer Division passing crowds in Zagreb, Croatia during the Axis invasion of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia on April 10, 1941. Australian Infantry of C Company, 248th Battalion moving past a Matilda of C Squadron, 9th Armored Regiment on Tarakan, Dutch East Indies, 6th May 1945. B-29, Super Fortress Untouchable, and crew, 1944. Boeing B-17, Flying Fortresses of the 381st Bomb Group line up in preparation for takeoff on bombing mission somewhere over enemy installations. Boeing B-17G Flying Fortress with its bomb bay doors open over Berlin. This aircraft belongs to the 452nd Bomb Group, U.S. Air Force photo, circa 1944. Buffalo soldiers of the 25th Infantry Regiment in 1890. Bundesarchiv, Bild 183b 013 00 14 067. Bremerhaven, Verabschiedung, Ostasienstruppen. Column Gregorio Honasan, famously known as Gringo, helped to oust President Ferdinand E. Marcos and launched 2 major coup attempts against his successor Corazon Aquino. Photo taken around mid-1980s, Philippines. Conversation lesson: this is a chair. Classroom scene at Indian Industrial School, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, 1901. Croatian husband giving his wife homemade pistol for self-defense during Serbian assault on their village in Slavonia in 1991. Crowds gather in front of Emisora Atlántico to learn the details of the end of the Second World War. Barranquilla, Colombia, 1945. Charles I, Emperor of Austria, is crowned Charles IV, the last King of Hungary, December 30th, 1916. Che Guevara and Yuri Gagarin in Moscow, 1964. Dedication of the San Jacinto Battle Monument outside Houston. View from the top, April 20th, 1939. Destroyed rail cars being used as barricades in Berlin, April-May 1945. Disabled cruiser tank after the Battle of Tripoli, Italian Libya, January 1943. During the Second World War, more than 2,000 women served as snipers in the Red Army, 1940s. Eamon de Valera inspects members of the Western Division of the Irish Republican Army at 6 Mile Bridge in County Clare, circa 1920. First ascent of the highest peak in Dutch New Guinea, Edikoop, then Wilhelmina Top, 21st February 1913. The ice cap on which the expedition stands melted between 1936 and 1962. Georgian Highlander Kevsur in military attire, Tiflis Province, Georgia, Russian Empire, 1907. German motorcyclists giving way to rolling Soviet tanks during joint German-Soviet military parade in Brest-Litovsk, 1939. GIs of the 102nd Division take time for a quick Thanksgiving Day dinner in a shelled house. Geilenkirchen, North Rhine-Westphalia, November 23, 1944. Howard Hughes at the controls of the H-4 Spruce Goose for its only flight, 2 November 1947. Hungarian parliament after a fight broke out between the opposition representatives and the guards, 1904. Iranian President Ali Khamenei meeting Syrian President Hafez al-Assad in Damascus, September 6, 1984, to negotiate an Iran-Syria alliance. Iranian Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, left, and Saudi Malik Faisal bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, right, in the 1970s in a meeting. Iran's first supreme leader, Ayatollah Ruhollah, leaves his villa in Neauphle-le-Château, near Paris, on January 31, 1979, to board an Air France jet bound for Tehran. Islamic Marxists of the People's Mojahedin Organization of Iran show their support for Ali Shariati and Ruhollah Khomeini during the Islamic Revolution. Iran, 1979. Kalakaua in Masonic uniform. Lee Harvey Oswald with his wife and daughter, 1962. Liquidators measuring radioactivity levels. Ukraine, circa 1986. M10 Wolverine tank destroyers of 30th Infantry Division, Magdeburg, Germany, 1945. Members of the U.S. Congress meeting with Yaroslav Stetsko, who as leader of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, led the 1941 Lviv pogroms, July 15, 1981. Men of the U.S. 503rd Parachute Infantry Regiment dropped from C-47 Skytrains behind a smokescreen into Nadzab, New Guinea on September 5, 1943. Mussolini greeted with applause by the fascists in 1934. On May 10, 1944, the crew of damaged B-17F Flying Fortress Patches were forced to bail out at 22,500 feet over Wiener Neustadt, Austria, due to severe damage sustained during a mission. 8 crewmen became POWs, while 2 were KIA. On this day in 1959, Alaska, one of America's riskiest investments, became the 49th state in the Union. Before Alaska became an American state, Russia invaded and subjugated its people for fur trading. Panama Canal, 1922. People watching policemen inspect long hair. Seoul, 1971. Those caught had their hair cut on spot. Private First Class Edward J. Foley of the 143rd Infantry, 36th Division, cleaning his M1903 Springfield sniper rifle before moving out to the front lines near Velletri in Italy, May 1944. Posters of Joseph Stalin, Vladimir Lenin, Sun Yat-sen, and Chiang Kai-shek above the Imperial Hotel in Shenyang, China, 1946. President Georges Pompidou is holding a lunch in honor of youth and sport in the Élysée House. Among those invited were future Prime Minister Michel Barnier, May 28, 1971. Photo taken by a U.S. Army Signal Corps photographer during the Siege of Bastogne, as members of the 101st Airborne Division were watching as Douglas C-47 Skytrains dropped supplies December 26, 1944. Qing Dynasty representatives signed treaty with 8-nation alliance after their surrender. 1901. Republic of China soldiers before the Battle of Wuhan in 1938. Rescuers probed the wreckage of the destroyed battalion landing team headquarters in Beirut on October 24, 1983. Road to Dhaka, Indian Army and Indian Air Force personnel posed with a missile en route to East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, during the 1971 Indo-Pak War, December 1971. Salvador Dali and others bandaging up woman dancer. Hotel Del Monte, Monterey, California, 1941. Senior citizens advocate for Medicare at the DNC Convention, August 1964. Sergeant Dawson of the Grenadier Guards wounded in the Crimean War, 1856. Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi inspects honor guard in Denmark, 1959. Sherman tank transporting a Japanese Type 94 Tika tank on Kwajalein, Marshall Islands, February 2, 1944. Siamese troops and their elephants in 1875. They were sent to fight Chinese bandits attacking the vassal kingdom of Luang Prabang. The bandits were remnants of the Red Turban Rebellion in China. Soldiers of the Imperial Japanese military in front of the Shwethelyong Temple statue of Buddha in Burma, present-day Myanmar, during the Japanese invasion and occupation of Burma, 1942. Sophia Loren, Yvonne DiCarlo, and Gina Lollobrigida posed for a photo in the Berlin Film Festival, June 18th to 19th of 1954. South Korean General Park Chung-hee versus his men during the May 16th coup that ousted the democratically elected Chung-yun administration and brought the military to power, 1961. Soviet soldiers on board the liner, Joseph Stalin, who survived a mine explosion during the evacuation from the Hanko Peninsula, Finland. The photo was taken from the German ship that took them prisoner. 3rd December, 1941. Says fencing club practice, Germany, 1930s. Stunt double Relna Brewer McRae and first all-women gym owner in California, Abby Stockton, lift Milo Globe 100 pounds dumbbells at Santa Monica, California, circa 1946. Suffragette Emmeline Pankhurst is arrested in front of the Buckingham Palace, London, England, 21st of May of 1914. Surrender of Nazi Germany, 1945. Tehran Railway Station, Iran, 1975. Texas's first female governor, Miriam Ma Ferguson, her inaugural address in House Chamber, January 1925. Tlingit woman with nose ring and bear claw crown. Tlingit are indigenous peoples of southeast Alaska, i.e. Alexander Archipelago, and surrounding areas on the continent. 1906. 12 countries signed the NATO Treaty on April 4th, 1949 in Washington, D.C. Two Kashmiri guards, along with American photographer James Rickalton, at the Imperial Delhi Durbar in British India, 1903. Two P-47 Thunderbolts and six P-51 Mustangs in the maintenance area of the 35th Fighter Group, Lingayen Airfield, Luzon, Philippines, April 1945. U.S. Air Force photo. The Argentine national football team and several other people. Photo taken in La Paz, Bolivia in 1973. The first 7 Andorran policemen. The police in this country was founded on the 15th of May, 1931, and the photo is from around that date. The steamship SS Waremu is famous for the fact that Captain John Phillips crossed the intersection of the international date line and the equator at exactly the turn of 1899 and 1900. The 3 men who the Soviet government considered to be responsible for the Chernobyl disaster at their trial, circa July 1987. The U.S. Navy airship Akron emerging from the Goodyear Zeppelin hangar at Akron, Ohio, 1931. The USS North Carolina firing her 16-inch guns during a shakedown cruise in the Caribbean Sea, 28th August, 1941. The view from the ball turret of a B-17 Flying Fortress, circa 1944. These American soldiers from the 28th Division Band and Quartermaster Company stayed and fought the Germans in Wiltz, Belgium, until their ammunition was exhausted. Bastogne, Belgium, 20th December, 1944. These men of the 823rd Tank Destroyer Battalion are responsible for knocking out 4 attacking King Tiger German tanks. Belgium, 1944. U.S. Army Signal Corps photo. U.S. M36 Tank Destroyer and crew in Fosse, Trois Ponts area, Belgium. Late December 1944. Early January 1945. U.S. Marines drinking coffee aboard USS Arthur Middleton, APA-25, after experiencing 2 days of heavy fighting on Eniwetok Atoll. Marshall Islands, February 19, 1944. U.S. soldiers try to extricate a jeep stuck in mud. Italy, November 11, 1943. Very young German POWs in the Sauer River region during the Battle of the Bulge, January 1945. Victory Arch with swastikas and red stars for joint German-Soviet parade in Brest-Litovsk, 1939. Washington, D.C. police officers combing through the area around the White House for spent shell casings after the failed attempt to assassinate President Bill Clinton by Francisco Martin Duran, October 29, 1994. Woman in biker gear, riding her motorcycle. Berlin, Germany, 1905. Source and comments. Workers heading out through gates of a shipyard for lunchtime break. Behind them, a ship under construction surrounded by timber scaffolding and cranes. Glasgow, Lanarkshire, Scotland, United Kingdom, circa 1944. Wounded American sergeant feeds his wounded friend on Christmas Day, 1944, San Jose, Mindoro, Philippines. A circus performer in an aquarium car with crocodiles, Berlin, 1933.